Hey, welcome back, welcome back. Okay, today's is going to be a little bit different. I had initially planned on doing about 2 weeks worth of this blog before I started letting people know about it, just so I could work out the kinks and the technical difficulties that I have, because I don't know anything about computers yet. But there's a pretty important issue that we need to talk about, and that is the swine flu. Everybody's talking about the swine flu. This conversation we're about to have kind of started about 2 months ago, actually. I was adjusting a patient, and she works in the emergency room. And this was just when they were start talking about the swine flu, becoming a pandemic. And I asked her, I said, sorry, I thought I heard somebody coming. I said, hey, have you had a lot of swine flu cases? And she said, yeah, we really have. She said, we had 7 today. I'm like, wow, 7 swine flu cases today? And she goes, yeah. I said, are you guys still testing for it? And she goes, no. She said, they've determined that, if they come in with the flu, it's the swine flu. Okay, so that made me a little bit uneasy, because how do they know whether this is a pandemic or not if they're not testing for it? And I'm sure that our small little town, Fort Walton Beach, Florida, is not the only town that's not testing for the swine flu. So that didn't sit real easy with me. And then I came across some information this morning, and this really struck me as odd. I'm going to look at some stats here. This is a graph, and this graph is from CBS News. They did a 3-month study on the swine flu and the outcomes of the tests that were done. And what this graph basically says is that in Florida, is one of the states that they cover on here, there were 8,853 specimens that were tested. Now keep in mind, from personal experience, not even everybody is being tested. They're coming in and they're just being diagnosed with the flu. So these numbers are very, very inflated. But in Florida, over that 3-month period, 8,853 people were tested for swine flu. Of that, 83% tested negative, not only for swine flu, but any kind of flu at all. Only 17% tested positive for flu, and that did happen to be swine flu. So in other words, of these people that came in that presented with flu-like symptoms, only 17% actually had a flu of some kind. Okay? Pretty interesting. Look at California. 13,704 specimens. Of those specimens, only 2% were swine flu. 12% were the seasonal flu, and 86% tested negative for flu altogether. And there's a couple other states on here, but those were the 2 big ones. So basically what this tells us is that, it makes you question, is this really a pandemic? Is this really something that we need to freak out about? I think Dr. Oz was quoted as saying that 50% of the people in the country were going to get the swine flu. Well, it looks here like even the people that have flu symptoms, only 17% of those people in Florida and 2% of those people in California actually have the swine flu. So the reason for bringing this up is I want you to research further. I want you to question whether you need to go and get this vaccine. I'm not here to tell you yes or no. This is a personal decision. It's a very important decision. You need to take serious thought before you make a decision whether to or whether not to vaccinate yourself or your family. But keep in mind, these stats that we're hearing, all these numbers that we're hearing, they're inflated. Okay, we don't know how accurate they are. Also, keep in mind that the pharmaceutical companies that manufacture these vaccines have already been released of all liability. So if something does happen to you or your family, you have no recourse or no ability to try to find justice for that. So just keep that in mind. And again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm just encouraging you very, very strongly to get informed. This is a choice that you have to make for yourself. I also want to say that, anybody who has come through the swine flu, anybody who's unfortunately suffered a death from what was believed to be the swine flu, whether it was or not, I don't know. But anybody who has gone through that, my condolences. I don't mean to minimize that. But I am concerned about a mass vaccination program for something that is not even that detrimental to the majority of people. Obviously it is to some people. So please, don't take offense to that. And just get educated and make sure that you know what you're doing when you make your choices. And if you choose to get the vaccine, absolutely fine. Just don't overreact right now. Don't get panicked. Don't rush out because of the media's fear mongering, quite honestly, that we're going to run out of vaccines. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure when you cough or sneeze, you sneeze into your elbows so that you don't spread it through the air. Just use good, proper hygiene, and everything should be okay. All right. So with that being said, 10 real quick facts about the swine flu vaccine, and we'll call it a day. Number one, multi-doses of the swine flu vaccine and the seasonal flu vaccine, they have mercury in them. The number that I saw was of the 160 million swine flu vaccines that are out there, they do have about 6,000 doses that are do not contain mercury. How do you know if you're getting it with mercury or without? Well, if it's in the box and it's not refrigerated, it has mercury in it. Now, mercury is a known neurotoxin. They're linking that to possible causes of Alzheimer's, autism, and a bunch of different things. So something to really consider. Number two, the swine flu vaccines contain some formaldehyde. Again, this could be a cancer-causing agent. Number three, it's not known whether the flu virus is safe to give to pregnant women and to children, especially those that might already have a compromised immune system. Understand, this has only been on the market since the end of August, so there are no long-term studies. We do not know the effect of this flu vaccine, and anybody that tells you that they do is forecasting and predicting the future. So keep that in mind as well. Number four, there's an increased risk of developing Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a inflammation of the nerves. And in 1976, when they had the swine flu mass vaccination, more people actually died from the vaccine than they did from the flu. So just another thing to keep in mind. Let's see. Guillain-Barré syndrome and brain inflammation have been reported after the seasonal flu vaccine. The vaccine has not been evaluated for its ability to cause cancer, damage genes, or impair fertility. Again, there's no long-term studies, so we don't know what the effects of this are going to be. Here's a good one. They don't know whether the swine flu vaccine can harm a fetus in pregnant women, okay? And they're really encouraging pregnant women to get this vaccine, so that concerns me. Number two, the swine flu vaccine has only, and this is from the product insert, the immune response and safety was only evaluated in 31 children from the age of 6 to 26 months. Okay, it's 31 children. You cannot get a good case study on that. The live virus nasal spray is not recommended for pregnant women or children under the age of 2. We already knew that. And, quite honestly, the swine flu, right now, even if the patients that do get it, it's pretty much a mild flu. Some people get pretty sick from it, but if you rest, drink your fluids, let your body run its course, typically people will get through it. So keep this in mind. If you have any questions, please email me at drpricedc@aol.com. That's drpricedc@aol.com. Thanks. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.